Consistency in quality and evolution in writing. Those are the strongest descriptions I can give through listening to Chevelle over the years. With that intent to create and not ride on laurels while virtually living on the road and touring endlessly up until the pandemic, we finally get the band's 9th studio album, and first in roughly 5 years, Nothing is Real and This is a Simulation, or NIRATIAS. I've seen Chevelle live countless times working festivals and concerts over the years, and La Gargola was one of my favorite albums in 2014, so it's nice to finally do a proper album review for the band, as I've never really had the opportunity to do so. Also, I want to point out that I got this shot of Pete live in Philadelphia back in 2016 when I shot a festival. And I'm quite proud of it because they're a hard band to shoot. That's it, back to the album. There's been some change for Chevelle since 2016, including longtime bassist Dean Bernardini leaving in 2019 to focus on family and other projects. When you look at how much of a family affair Chevelle is, it's impressive how much the band has accomplished with Pete and Sam at the helm since 1995. At 13 tracks, NIRATIAS is a concept album reveling in the idea of interstellar travel and space and everything that Elon Musk would most likely drool over. The 9th album was started back in 2019 working with producer Joe Barresi, who worked with Tool and Queens of the Stone Age in the past. NIRATIAS is not only a concept album, but will be a make-or-break situation for Chevelle, according to Pete. After many years of dealing with management and trying to live up to expectations while being pressured, Pete and Sam worked tirelessly to make something unique, and in an interview with Loudwire, Pete explained, "If people like this one, then I'm going to continue on, and if not, it may be many years before we put out anything else. I may move on to some other side projects and let Chevelle sit for a minute. This is pretty much everything we could throw at it for over 4 years' time." After this long into Chevelle's career, it's fair to finally decide the next big album would be considered the fork in the road on what happens next for the group. Chevelle have a long history, and they are going as big as the galaxy with this concept album and what they wanted to show us for their first album in years. If you're a Chevelle fan, you're pretty excited about the scope of this. Self-Destructor was the first single and first new Chevelle song in a long time, and it checks a lot of boxes for Chevelle fans if you know what you're looking for. But what I enjoy most about this Chevelle single is the picked up speed in the guitar. That's the standout feature. Pete's voice warbles a bit at moments, but as the song gets on in the performance, everything gets stronger, and that's what makes the track work. I really enjoy this one. As for the other singles that came out after Self-Destructor, Peach is a song that starts off brooding and slow with a steady riff, but works into an intense delivery. It's a pounding, heavy piece by the end of the track, and it really works for me for some reason when the chorus hits. The additional effects in the background add something to the tone, and I feel this is an underrated track both as a single and as a Chevelle song in general. Remember When has some unique layering for all the sounds in the tracks, and the production had a lot to work with, but it pulled it off. The drums are a bit more prominent with the cymbal hits, and I think that complements the guitar work well. It's the least engaging single of the three mentioned here, but I definitely think it contributes to the album and is memorable for the right reasons. These three songs have unique qualities about them and aren't the same track repeated. It's not the standard verse, chorus, verse that plagues mainstream rock radio. Chevelle have always been good about trying to work around that as the years went on. The band definitely has a unique sound that you instantly know is them, but they try to write songs differently so each song doesn't sound the exact same. The album starts with Verruckt, which is completely instrumental with bass drums, riff chugging, feedback. It's the band setting a base for what's to come. It's heavy in tone and works for what it's trying to do, even if 3.5 minutes does go by slowly because not a ton happens in the track. So Long Mother Earth is where the venture to space kicks off, and you hear Pete's vocals soar. This song feels energetic and gives that aura of, I'm ready for the next adventure and nothing is gonna hold me back. Guitars are solid, good progression along with the music, almost 5 minutes of an intense kickoff to an album, and I like it. Mars Simula is a continuation of So Long Mother Earth, and this gives bigger mainstream vibes in certain ways, while not relying on that format. The rolling riffs work, but Pete's vocals fade in and out, which sometimes works, but other times you wish he stood out a bit more. The music is solid though, and it's a good track that works around the line, I'm on my way to Mars. Following an interlude Stasis track and Self-Destructor, we get Pistol Star, Gravity Heals. You think it would be a slow, brooding track from the opening, but the rhythm is killer, and you feel every second of this song. Pete cuts loose a few times, the track feels thematic. This is a great midway point in the album that already has a few high points. After another interlude track, there's several, we get Test Enough at 2 minutes, which really gives the feeling of isolation. The guitar fade loop has an effect that echoes out with Pete calling out into the distance. While Wormhole doesn't add much, I feel like Test Enough does. endlessly takes that isolation to reflection with a slower speed with a great guitar tone. The music is mixed well here with the acoustic riffs and Pete's voice. Sam in back has a good contribution without going too loud. This is a great refresher from so much intensity and helps set a different mood at this point. Ghost and Razor at almost 6 minutes is a step slower than other loud tracks on the album. The effects behind the thick bass make the music feel huge. This is where many Tool comparisons will come in with how everything is presented. I do feel it drags too much in the middle, but it's not bad at all. And finally, Lost in Digital Woods starts with glorified spoken word to low piano keys to ringing out guitars and whispered vocals. It's important to the story and closes out everything, but as a track, I'm pretty confident I'm not going to want to hear this again. As a closer, it doesn't feel like a story ended, but wondering if that's really the end. The closing track didn't sit well with me, and the interludes do not add a ton, but some of the key songs on NIRATIAS are killer and will be concert staples for a long time. I can hear the additional effort that went into an album like this after so much time without a release, and I do feel it paid off. The space story feels exciting and terrifying at points, and Chevelle made the most of it to sound intense. Overall, Nothing Is Real and This Is a Simulation continues Chevelle's legacy of moving on from radio formats and trying to do something different with their writing and music. Chevelle fans should find more than enough to be satisfied with, and I do believe we'll be hearing these songs live once touring can start up again. Put in some earbuds, play the simulation, and blast off to Mars. What did you think of NIRATIAS? Leave a comment and let everyone know. Big thanks to my patrons and a special thanks to Brandon Barenfeld, Chris Stoneman, McKenna White, and Dominic Noble. You can have insane upcoming videos and see videos early by supporting Verruckt on Patreon. Click the link in the video description for more info. Please subscribe and ring the bell to get notified on upcoming videos. You can check out my concert photography on Instagram, and you can keep up to date with Verruckt on Facebook and Twitter.